Good afternoon, baseball fans. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and we're back for start 41 of our 1969 payoff pitch Fergie Jenkins replay. Fergie coming off a no decision in a game that the Cubbies won against the Phillies. He was ejected in the third inning, along with Randy Hundley for hitting a batter that initiated a brawl between the two clubs. So he's currently sitting at 26 wins in the replay, 26-10 to be exact, with a 2.16 ERA, 313 innings pitched, 227 hits allowed, 48 walks, 252 strikeouts, and 21 home runs given up. In real life at this point, he was 20-14 with a 3.24 ERA and 294 innings pitched. He had given up 270 hits, 70 walks, and 261 strikeouts, and surrendered 24 home runs. So a lot of those numbers, especially home runs, walks, are very, very close. He's done a little bit better in limiting hits and, of course, in the win column. In the replay, the Cubs were 23-16 in games Fergie had started at this point. Currently, they're 28-11. And it's not going to be enough to catch the Mets at this point based on head-to-head and get them into the playoffs, but still a good run. And with 2 starts left, he has a chance to get 28 wins, which would be a great accomplishment. So we're ready to go. What's up, RJ? Welcome. One other thing we'll have in today's game, our 7th inning fun fact returns. And we'll be going back, taking a little trip through the Wayback Time Machine to visit the 1912 World Series and share some conversations that John McGraw had with sports writers about sharing the Polo Grounds with the New York Highlanders, aka Yankees, for the 1913 season, and also talks about how the Yankees got their name. So I thought this was an interesting little piece of history to disseminate during our fun facts segment. So we'll be ready to go. Lineup for the Cardinals: the speedy Lou Brock leads it off in left, Curt Flood in center, Vada Pinson in right, Joe Torre at first, Tim McCarver behind the dish, Mike Shannon at third, Julian Javier at second, Dal Maxville at short, and Chuck Taylor, not the shoe guy, but a competent pitcher, will be on the mound. And actually, he only had 15 starts in 1969, or 13, sorry, and was 7-5 with a 2.56 ERA. For the Cubbies, for the second game in a row, Oscar Gamble gets the start in center and will lead off. Glenn Beckert at second. Sweet swinging Billy Williams hits third and left. Jim Hickman is promoted the cleanup spot today over Ron Santo, and he's in right. Ernie Banks at first. Santo bats sixth in today's game at the hot corner. Paul Popovich at short. Randy Hundley back from his dismissal in the last game behind the dish. And, of course, Fergie on the hill. So we are ready to go. And, yeah, I'm actually, RJ, I'm reading a book about the 1912 World Series. And it's a really cool book. It's got some anecdotes and stories about things that were going on outside of baseball and the news at that time, as well as some conversations that were recorded and reported through the papers. And this one just caught my eye because it was really about the time that Yankees were starting to get used as a nickname by a couple of New York papers. So here we go. The book is called The First Fall Classic, and it's basically, again, just strictly about that 1912 series between the Giants and Red Sox, which you'd think wouldn't be able to fit an entire book, but the writer does an excellent job. It's almost 300 pages, actually. He goes into detail about every game. There's a lot of stories between games, travel, quotes, what's going on in New York and Boston at the time. So it's really, really well put together book, and it does a good job painting life in New York and Boston, as well as the World Series back in 1912. So yeah, highly recommend it. I got it. Downloaded it off of Amazon onto my Kindle, so that's what I'm currently reading. All right, we are ready to go. Lou Brock set to lead it off against Fergie, and Fergie comes out swinging tough. And 26, Lou Brock, not the best contact hitter for a leadoff guy. He's going to go down on strikes to start this game. Fergie started the last game with a strikeout as well against the Phillies. Going to have an in-play result to Curt Flood, and Flood's going to drive that into center field. And plenty of room out there to pull that in for Oscar Gamble, getting his second start in a row on this replay. Takes us to the third batter, Veda Pinson. And Fergie, tough again, but Pinson's going to get some wood on this, but a harmless ground ball down to second base. And that's going to be cleaned up nicely by Becker at 4-3 on the putout. So Fergie off to a great start in his quest for win number 27, and no score as the Cubbies come to bat against Chuck Taylor, and again, not of shoe fame. Taylor comes out and he fires a high strike into Gamble. Gamble swings and misses badly. One down to start the game for the Cubbies. So both pitchers starting out with a little K action going as Glenn Becker steps up to the dish. And Taylor has a tough out on 10 on his card. So he does have, and tough out again is an automatic out if the batter does not strike out. Becker, he's going to put this one into play. He's going to hit this into center field as well, though. And Curt Flood, routine play out there, slaps the glove, pulls it in one hand, and 2 down for the Cubbies. And as usual, in a era where the pitchers had the upper hand, we're off to another pitcher's duel type start. 69 in the tough column for sweet swinging Billy Williams. And Williams not going to do anything with that. Ground ball down to shortstop. And easy play there for Maxville. So Cubbies go down in order as well as Chuck Taylor matches Fergie pitch for pitch, out for out, heading to the second inning. No score, no hits. Yeah, dead ball is definitely my favorite time period. Probably from the 1890s up to about the early 20s. Really, really fun time for me. I do a lot of research on that and spend a lot of time reading about that. Great time in baseball. Tough Fergie to start the inning with Joe Torre, and Torre's going to put this one into play, though, avoids a strikeout. Instead, that will be a routine fly ball out to center field that Gamble takes care of. One down in the second as Tim McCarver steps up. McCarver, well known for being Steve Carlton's personal catcher and for getting a Gatorade bath from Deion Sanders in the postseason one year. 9 going to be another tough result, and 59, and McCarver, not a good big strikeout guy, puts that into play. That'll be a ground ball down to shortstop, which Popovich gobbles up, whips across the banks. 2 down in the top of the second. Mike Shannon steps in to face Fergie, and Fergie, tough to Shannon. He's throwing BBs right now. Big swing and a big miss, and Shannon retired. 6 up, 6 down for the Cards to start this one off. Head to the bottom of the second, looking for not only our first score, but our first base runner. Jim Hickman's going to lead it off, and that's going to be an in-play result, and we're going to get our first base runner as Hickman elevated the cleanup spot, drives that into center field for a leadoff single. No base running shenanigans as Ernie Banks comes up. They're going to let Ernie hit away, 55. And Ernie Banks, that's a fly ball into right field and routine play out there for Veda Pinson. 1 down in the second for the Cubbies. Retreating back to first is Hickman as Chuck Taylor gets the ball. Stares down. Santo has a sign. Tough. Fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Santo actually got a piece of that, but McCarver held on for the strikeout. 2 down. And that brings up shortstop Paul Popovich, no relation to Greg. And 8, that's going to be a patient result. Popovich going to draw the base on balls. So Cubbies looking for a little 2-out lightning here. Have runners on first and second. And Randy Hundley happy to get back in the lineup after getting ejected. Here comes a pitch, and that's going to be a tough out, though, and that will be a ground ball down to shortstop. Maxville goes a short way to second, and the Cubbies threaten, but they are set down in the second. 1 hit, 1 walk, no runs, no errors, 1 or 2 left as we head to the top of the third. No score in this one. And Tony has joined us. What's up, brother? Check out his wonderful channel as well. Cards and Dice TV does a lot with baseball games and still lobbying to get splits added to the payoff pitch set for pitchers, which will not happen. But very enjoyable watching baseball games on that channel. So give him a look, please. as we're ready to go in the top of the second inning. Fergie, 6 for 6, perfect thus far as Julian Javier steps in. And 7's going to be an in-play result, and Javier is going to ground that down to second base. Ranging to his right is Beckert, the short throw to first. 1 down. Dal Maxville, the Cardinals shortstop, up next. And that's going to be a patient result, and Maxville, wait Fergie out, and he does, just outside on that pitch ball for Fergie's first walk and the Cardinals' first base run of the day. Looking for the sign is Taylor. Taylor's a decent hitting pitcher. They're going to let him swing away, and of course Fergie comes tough, and that was a mistake as Taylor blown away on 4 pitches, 3 of them strikes, no contact. Back to the top of the order. Runner on first base, 2 down. The speedy Lou Brock steps in. Tony says, I gave up. You gave it a hell of a try, though. 3, and that's going to be tough. And Brock again. You can't cause damage if you can't get on base. And Brock's frozen by the slider. Strike 3 called. He's out looking as we head to the bottom of the third. Cubbies and Cardinals locked in a scoreless tie thus far. In play result going to Fergie, and 79 is going to be a fly ball to center field. So Fergie gets a little bit of wood on that. Flood makes the play as we're back to the top of the order. Oscar Gamble struck out to start the game off for the Cubbies. Digs in, and it's going to be a tough out result again. 74, it's going to be a ground ball down to second base. And ranging into the hole is Javier. Nice throw across his body. Retires Gamble. 2 down. So both pitchers on point early in this one. And 6 an in-play result to Glenn Beckert. And Beckert, fly ball into center field and going back near the track, but plenty of room to make the play is Flood. So 3 up, 3 down go the Cubbies again. We're through 3. No score in this one as Cardinals, Curt Flood set to lead it off. Al, Red Sox fan, has entered the ballpark, and check out his amazing channel as well. Al doing cards and dice baseball with Strat, also a big proponent of Glory Days boxing, which I appreciate. Pine Tar baseball as well, and also doing some recent Brawl for All videos with Fire Pro Wrestling, which is a cool game. And I was going to order that during the Steam sale, but I don't have much time to play games, so it probably just sit there. Looks like a very fun game to play, though. And patient result for Fergie to Coach Flood. And Flood's going to get a hold of that, ground that down to Santo, and easy play for Ron. 1 down, start the fourth. And Al, hang around for our 7th inning fun fact. I think you will like that. We're going to go back and relive a conversation that John McGraw had with New York sports writers during the 1912 World Series. So Veda Pinson set to step in play result, and Pinson drives that into center field. That's in the gap, ranging over, and Gamble, a nice running catch, 2 down. As Joe Torre steps into the batter's box, and Pinson back to the dugout, lamenting what might have been. And Fergie throwing BBs, tough, 48, but Torre's going to fight that off, and the Cardinals finally have a base hit here in the fourth. A 2-out single that Torre hit off the end of the bat. That dropped just behind second base. Brings up Deion Sanders' favorite reporter, Tim McCarver, and it's going to be an in-play result to McCarver. And McCarver, fly ball into left field, and sweet swinging Billy Williams on his horse pulls that in. Side is retired. The Cardinals get a hit. Leave 1. We're heading to the bottom of the 4th inning, still looking for our first score as sweet swinging Billy Williams leads it off for the Cubbies after that nice over-the-shoulder catch. And Chuck Taylor's having none of this, sits him down. Blows the fastball by him, and Williams looked over match on that, heads back to the dugout, 1 down. Jim Hickman again in the unfamiliar cleanup spot today, and we're going to have a little rare play action, and again using the Glory Days baseball, which eventually will be released at some point in my lifetime. Rare play chart. 43, no runners on base, and that's going to be a possible injury to the pitcher. And Taylor And he's going to be okay, so he will stay in the game, and we'll re-roll the at-bat. So Hickman in play result, and he's going to drive that into the gap between second and third and short. Nice play in the hole by Maxfield, though. Fires back across the diamond and just nips him at first base. 2 down. Mr. Cubby Ernie Banks up. And another in play result, and Banks gets a hold of that. Sharp line drive down the third base line. Picked up on a hop by Shannon, and he fires across the diamond. Banks retired as well. So the Cubbies go down in order in the 4th inning as we are through 4. No score in this one. Each team with only a single hit thus far. So top of the 5th, coming up on the halfway point, Mike Shannon set to lead it off for the Cards. Fergie is going to get an in-play result out of that, and that will be a fly ball into right field, and Hickman plenty of room out there to pull that in. Routine catch. Uses both hands as he should. And that brings up second baseman Julian Javier, and Javier in play result. 68, ground ball down to second base, and range between second and first base. Picking that up is Beckert. Short throw to Banks, and 2 down for the Cubbies here, or the Cardinals, sorry, in the top of the 5th. As I move the wrong card. Dal Maxfield now set to hit. And 5, that's going to be a patient result. And Maxfield is going to draw the second base on balls given up by Fergie, and that brings up the pitcher spot. And Chucky Taylor struck out his first time. Fergie just overmatched him. 2 outs. He's got to hit away. No score in this one. And 4 is going to be a ballpark result. That's in play. And 22 or less. 26 just misses that and gets some good wood on that, but ends up popping it up into foul territory. And near the stands, pulling that in is Ernie Banks, so side is retired. As the Cardinals waste a walk, and we are halfway through this one. Pitcher's duel is a brewing, no score as the Cubbies set to start the 5th with Ron Santo coming to the dish. Santo, first time up, was blown away by Taylor, went down on strikes. Going to get a little revenge, and in play result by Santo. And Santo, sharp line drive into left field between third and short. And Cubbies have their second hit of the day as Santo leads off with a single here in the 5th. Let's check up with the chat real quick. And Bears Dan 07 has joined us at the ballpark. Welcome, my friend. God, Bears in the house. All right, Popovich, Santo gets his lead, and Chuck Taylor. It's going to be a patient result to Pop, and Popovich is going to draw the base on ball. So the Cubbies in business here. Nobody out. Runners on first and second. Randy Hundley, the batter. And Hundley wants to get wood on the ball here. Doesn't want to leave it up to Fergie, and instead it's an in-play result. 75, that's going to be a fly ball into center field. Runners hold, 1 down, and Fergie has no choice. He's helped himself a couple of times in this replay, though. Looking for a little magic again. Can he do it? It's not going to get it that way, as Taylor says, breaks the unwritten rule and bends off a curveball that buckles Fergie's knees. Fergie gives him a grimace and heads back to the dugout. Taylor smiles, 2 down, runners on first and second. Top of the order. The best throw in baseball, Oscar Gamble steps up, and Gamble's going to get a patient result, 48, and 48, that's going to be a single, and he drives that, a line drive into center field, and runners only advance 1 base, though, so their bases will be loaded. Nowhere to put them, and Glenn Beckert has a chance to get the first run of the game on the board here. And tough result to Bex, and 57, and it's going to be a ground ball down to second base, an easy routine play there for Javier, and the Cubbies waste a golden opportunity. 2 hits and a walk, leave the sacks loaded as we head to the 6th inning. No score in this one as Lou Brock 0 for life against Fergie. Fergie's dominated him in this replay, struck out twice today. Tough result. And are we going to get the hat trick? 37, swing and a miss. Brock slams the bat into the plate and shakes his head as he goes back to the dugout. Fergie has him in shackles today, 3 strikeouts. And like I said, you can't get on base. You can't hurt him. It's going to be an in-play result to Curt Flood, the player that every modern baseball player should tip their cap to for free agency. He grounds it down to Santo, 2 down. And that brings up lefty Vada Pinson. And Pinson today 0 for 2, ground out and a fly out. Tough result, and he's going to add a strikeout to his resume as Fergie bends that slider off, just catches the inside corner, can't get the bat around, and side is retired, heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Still no score in this one. Sweet swinging Billy Williams. He had a big home run in the last game, a 3-run blast. Can he do it again? Not this time. Going to be a tough out. That's a ground ball down to second base. And easy play there for Javier. 1 down to start the 6th for the Cubbies. Jim Hickman, again, getting used to his new cleanup spot in this one. Ballpark result, 70. That's in play. And fly ball into shallow center field. Curt Flood on the run. Pulls that in basket catch style. 2 down, Taylor. Matching zeros with Fergie in this one. Cubbies only have 3 hits through 5+ innings, and the Cardinals only a single base knock. It's going to be an in-play result to Ernie Banks. Mr. Cubby grounds that down the line to third. Nice backhand play by Shannon. Whips it across the diamond, and Banks, slowing down a little bit at this stage in his career, gets him by 3 steps. The Cubbies go down in order in the 6th. As we head to the top of the 7th inning, still looking for our first score in this one as Joe Torre, a cleanup hitter, steps in against Fergie. And 11 in our first defensive check of the day. It's going to be a range check on the pitcher. And Fergie is a C range, 92. And 92, he's going to get to that easily. So Fergie, not that he had a lot of ground to cover, but makes a nice play to his left. Whips it to first, and Torrey set down to start the 7th inning. Tim McCarver up. McCarver, like the rest of the team, 0 for 2 today. Not much luck against Fergie, and it's going to be a tough result. And you can add a strikeout from McCarver. 13. Actually, McCarver fouled that one off, gets another chance, and drives us into the gap. 2nd hit of the day for the Cardinals is McCarver. A clutch double after it looked like he struck out. Just got a piece of that ball, and Hundley couldn't hold on. So he makes use of his additional life to get a double. 1 down. Runner in scoring position. First time the Cardinals have had someone there. And we go to the defense again. Hopefully Fergie's defense does not let him down. It's going to be an error check on the second baseman. And Beckert, he is a 2 and 23. And that is going to be an error. And that will be a 1-base error. So runners at the corners now as the Cubbies defense. E4 and Julian Javier with a chance to get our first run of the game across. Here we go. Fergie gets a sign. He's been clutch. 1 out. Double play would be nice right now. 8, going to be tough. 67 and 67. That's going to be a ground ball down to second base. 8. And that is above. It's going to be a fielder's choice. So all they can get there is the force at second. And we have our first run of the ball game. It's going to be an unearned run as well, as that would have been the 3rd out. So ground out, 4-6 on the put out. Shannon is erased, and fielder's choice, Javier has the RBI, and the Cardinals break out to a 1-0 lead in this one. Good old-fashioned pitcher's duel, and Fergie takes umbrage with that, comes back with a vengeance, and Maxwell blown away on 3 straight pitches, 2 sliders and a high fastball. He's set down, and side is retired. But a hit, an error, and the Cardinals have the first run of the ball game. It's 1-0 as we enter our 7th inning stretch. And our 7th inning fun fact today, we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine, baseball history. This will be October 1912, and this is during the Fall Classic that year between the Giants and Red Sox. And John McGraw had paused to have a conversation between games with a couple of New York sports writers. And the topic came up if sharing the Polo Grounds with the New York Highlanders would be awkward, as they were set to become tenants in the 1913 season due to the dilapidated Hilltop Park no longer being functional. And there was some animosity between the two teams as well. And that was kind of the premise that Grantland Rice approached the subject with, McGraw. So here we go. Will sharing the Polo Grounds be awkward? Grantland Rice of the Mail wanted to know. Those animosities are long gone, McGraw insisted, his generosity no doubt fortified by the 50-102 record the Highlanders posted in 1912. Besides, when our park burned last year, they showed us great hospitality to us. They took us in, treated us neighborly, and we plan on treating them the same exact way, though they'll likely need a new name now that they won't be playing in the Highlands of Manhattan any longer. Our headline writers already called them by a different name, said Damon Runyon of the American. They called them the Yankees. Yankees, eh? McGraw said. I wonder if that name will catch on. So there you have it. It happened, folks, that conversation back in 1912. And as you know, in 1913, the Yankees started to stick more and more with fans and sports writers and other teams throughout the league. So it gives you a little bit of a glimpse into the origin of the Yankees name. And again, some papers were already starting to use that name back in 1912, but 1913 is when it became mainly universal. And that's a little glimpse behind a story related to that. Hope you enjoyed that seventh inning fun fact. As the Cubbies now look to get going in the bottom of the frame, and Santo leading it off, going to be an in-play result. And Santo, he's going to pop that up into shallow left field, and arranging back to pull that in is Maxwell. One down to start the inning for the Cubbies. Chuck Taylor has been electric today, working on a 3-hitter through 6 1/3. And he's going to stay the course with Popovich, as that's a ground ball down to shortstop. Routine 4-hopper for Maxwell. Whips it across the diamond to Torrey, and 2 down here in the 7th for Randy Hundley. Cubbies need to start thinking about a pinch hitter now. Here comes a sign. Taylor breaks off a curveball. Hundley way out in front, swinging a miss, strike 3, and a big bowl with Special K for Randy. As the side is retired, we head to the top of the 8th. 1-0, Cardinals clinging to a razor-thin lead in this awesome pitching duel. And leading it off is Taylor, and he's pitching a gem, so he's going to stay in the game. It's going to be an in-play result, and 28. It's going to be a pop fly just behind third base, and easy play there for Santo. 1 down to start the 8th, as back to the top of the order. And Lou Brock already saddled with the hat trick. Fergie looking for the golden sombrero. Gets a sign, and Brock, to his relief, is going to put it in play, but it's a routine fly out to left that Billy Williams takes care of easily. And 2 down in the 8th inning for the Cards, as Kurt Flood steps up. In play result for Flood, and 27, and off the end of the bat, and that just eludes the grasp of Popovich at shortstop, a 2-out single. And that's the 3rd hit of the day for the Cardinals, as Veda Pinson steps up. And Taylor would sure love some insurance now from Pinson. And Veda gives it his best shot, but a hard ground ball is going to be gobbled up by Popovich. And whips it across to Banks. So 1 hit, no runs, no errors. 1 person left as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. St. Louis clinging to a 1-0 lead. And Taylor working on a gem. And that is going to have to be it for Fergie. So Fergie's going to go 8 innings, and all he gives up is a single unearned run, only 3 hits. Seven strikeouts, almost half of them Lou Brock, who went down 3 by himself, walks a couple, no home runs. So Fergie will be pinch hit 4. And the new Cubbies pitcher for the top of the 9th will be Abernathy. And Fergie now on the hook for the loss, and at best he can just get a no decision in this one. As going to the bench, Don Young will be the pinch hitter. He steps in, takes a few practice hacks, removes a weighted donut from his back or bat, fires it back to the dugout. And here we go, leading off the bottom of the 8th. Here comes a pitch from Taylor, who again has thrown a masterpiece thus far, and he's staying the course. It's a pop fly into shallow left field and another easy put out for Maxwell. So Young cannot get it done, and back to the top of the order, Oscar Gamble comes up, tightens the helmet on that famous fro. Left-hander stares down the pitcher. Tough result, and 50. And Gamble, he's going to drive that between first and second base, so a one-out single, and the Cubbies are in business. No action going in the St. Louis bullpen yet. Looks like they're going to try and let Taylor ride this one out. In-play result to Glenn Beckert, and 69, fly ball into shallow center field. Kurt Flood moving in to take that, and looks Gamble back to first base. 2 down for sweet swinging Billy Williams, looking for some late inning heroics. And here comes a pitch. Patient result, and Billy grounds that down to second base, and that's going to be gobbled up by Javier, who whips it to first, and the Cubbies are set down. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, and we're heading to the last frame. It's 1-0. Yeah, RJ, definitely get that book, the First Fall Classic. If again, I know you like Dead Ball, so yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I'm reading that, and also another one about the Cleveland Spiders of the 1890s currently, which just starting that one, but it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting too. So Ted Abernathy on to pitch the 9th inning for the Cubbies. And he's going to start with an in-play result to Joe Torre. And Joe Torre is going to sharply drive that right back up the middle. And the Cardinals looking for some insurance. Have a good start here in the top of the 9th. Leadoff single by Skipper Joe. And that brings up Tim McCarver. Will surely get a much more welcome Gatorade bath than the one Deion Sanders gave him if he can keep the rally going here. It's going to be an error check on third base. And Santo is a 3 for the Cubbies. And 53, and that will indeed be an error. So infield, that will be a single base error. Second error of the day for the Cubbies as Santos boots that. And the Cardinals, 2 runners on to start the 9th, and Abernathy in a pickle. What would Fergie do here? 22 to Shannon, and Shannon drives that into left field and actually right field, opposite field liner. Runner on first advances 1, runner on second scores. And McCarver will not try and take the extra base since there is nobody out. So an RBI single. And the Cardinals extend their lead 2-0 as Chuck Taylor visibly happy in the dugout. Still nobody out in this one. And 8's going to be a tough result, 69 to Javier, and he's going to put that one into play. Ground ball down to second base, and that will be another fielder's choice. So 4-6, Shannon is erased. Julian Javier is on, and first and third, 1 down for Dal Maxville. Abernathy needs to induce a double play or get a strikeout here. Instead, he's going to get a patient result, and 54, and Abernathy is falling apart, throwing gas onto the fire. It's going to be a ball blooped into right field. The runner on first advances 1 base, and of course coming in to score. And that will be another unearned run is Tim McCarver. And the Cardinals extend their lead to 3-0, and that might be insurmountable as Taylor looks to help his own cause here. Steps up. 1 down, runners on first and second, and a patient result to Taylor. 35, and Taylor's going to get a single as well. Line drive into left field, and all runners move up 1. The sacks are loaded now. And Abernathy is absolutely falling apart. There's no action in the Cubbies bullpen. He's going to have to ride this out himself, and things are looking bleak for the Chicago 9 as Fergie looks like he's going to get tagged with loss 11 in this replay. And patient result again, and Lou Brock happy that he does not have to face Fergie. He's going to draw the base on balls and get credit for an RBI. So third run in the inning, still only a single out. Kurt Flood, the batter. Abernathy visibly frustrated. 8, tough result, and he comes in with a high heat, and Flood gets a hold of that and left it way over the plate, and that's going to be driven into the outfield. Runner on first advances 2 bases. Runner on second scores. So coming in to score on that is Maxville, Taylor, and over to third goes Brock, and the Cubbies are watching any opportunity they have of coming back in this game dissipate. 5 runs in the inning now, 6-0. 9th batter of the inning, Veda Pinson, and again, Abernathy's going to be left out there to fend for himself. And tough, that's a fly ball into right field. That will be too shallow to get a run home. So there is that, but 2 down now for Joe Torre. The damage has long been done. And tough result for Abernathy, 35, and swing and a miss. So Abernathy angrily slams his fist into his glove as the Cardinals push across 5 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits here in the top of the 9th inning. And we head to the bottom of the frame. Last chance for the Cubbies. 6-0. Chuck Taylor looking for the complete game shutout. He's twirling a 4-hitter and has been masterful today in this one. So leading it off is Hickman, and 33. And Hickman, normally good numbers, but that's going to be a simple ground ball down to first. So 3 unassisted on the put out there. As Torrey makes a nice play, that brings up Mr. Cub Ernie Banks. And 5, going to be a tough result. And Ernie, big swing, nothing but air, and he's set down. Strikeout. And Taylor at this point has 6 strikeouts in this game, and 1 out away from a complete game gem 4-hitter, outdueling the great Fergie Jenkins. 9, that'll be an in-play result, and Santo, it's going to be a ground ball down to first base. Torrey dives off his ass, fires it to Taylor covering. Ball game is over. So 3-1 on the putout, and the Cubbies go down in order in the 9th inning, and a 6-0 whitewashing. This was just not the Cubbies' day. They were in it till the last inning and then absolutely self-destructed defense and Abernathy. So your final line score for the Cardinals, 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors. For the Cubbies, no runs, 4 hits, 2 errors, 2 very costly errors, both led to runs. Your loser in this one, Fergie Jenkins, and he falls to 26-11 in this replay with 1 start left. And Chuck Taylor will be the winner. And in real life, he lost this game, so this will increase his record to 8-4, hypothetically, as he outduels Fergie. So thanks to everyone for checking in. Bears Den 007, RJ, Al, Red Sox fan, Tony from Cards and Dice TV. Making sure I got everybody. Yes, sir. And again, always support our members of the community. Check out Al Red Sox fan channel, Cards and Dice TV. Both of them do an outstanding job. So appreciate everyone checking in, supporting the channel, and watching the ball game. So one more start to this. Fergie's last start will be coming up, and then 1969 will go away. I ordered the 1921 payoff pitch season earlier this week, and Joe said they'll be shipping possibly tomorrow, more than likely Monday. So I'll have the 1921 season next week, and looking forward to that. Because, of course, that was probably the greatest individual offensive performance ever by a baseball player. Babe Ruth that year hit .378, had 59 home runs, 168 RBIs, walked 145 times, and slugging percentage, I may be off, I believe it was .862 or 3. which is the second highest slugging percentage ever behind Barry Bonds. So Babe Ruth will, looking forward to doing a Yankees replay for both Babe Ruth and the fact that there's no team better than the Yankees. Sorry, Al Red Sox fan. But hey, appreciate y'all watching once again from Wrigley Field. Tough loss for Fergie and the Cubs, 6-0, blanked by Chuck Taylor and the Cards. And we will be back with the final start of this replay, and then we'll do a summary of the replay. Fergie has exceeded what he did in real life. And again, any chance of catching the Mets to make it into the postseason? They were sketchy coming into this. I didn't think they had a chance, and this loss definitely dashes those hopes for the Cubbies, as they will be 28-12 now in games that Fergie has started in this replay. So, hey, I hope you all have a great night, and stay safe out there. Tony got to get my 2 double cheeseburger with extra pickles. Oh man, we actually got our first White Castle in Arizona last year out in Scottsdale, which is quite a haul from where I have. But after it opened, there was never less than a 2-hour wait for the first, probably 4 or 5 months it was open. I love White Castle and have enjoyed it always in my trips to New York, but I'm not waiting 2 hours for it. So enjoy your cheeseburgers with pickles, and hope you all have a great night. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming. We'll see you. Take care, everyone.